can see as you run that through here, this is a Ford 230 volts US. So your RPM on your motor is 1784, which is a 1780 motor. This is 60 hertz, so these are the hertz, and so when you run in percentages, you can run this down to 10%, which if you run at 6 hertz, that will slow your motor down and creates a synthetic three-phase electricity. So you can feed either single or three-phase into this, run a three-phase motor. So it's pretty easy. These line voltage reactors work a lot like a surge protector. So it goes coils on each phase. It eliminates all of the different cycle pulses and peaks and valleys. So it smooths your voltage out so you have less of your calm errors or your lower over voltage calls in your inverters because they need very clean electricity. These are over amperage. Your over amperage devices or breakers. Each unit is wired for 20 amps, and so for a three bay unit like this one end is, then you're going to have three 20 amp breakers. You'll feed this with a 60 amp main, and then from the main it comes up from here's your main, and it comes up here and wires into this. So each one of this is bay. Everything reads like a book. Bay 1, 2, 3, and then bays 1, 2, and then 3 is down there. These are 24 volt transformers, so you take your primary electricity, secondary voltage goes out as 24 volts, everything wires out to the bay. These are plug-in connectors, so you can unplug it here, take your meter face out, bring it back in here, plug it in, and you can do all your diagnostics in here. You don't have to be out, run back and forth to your bay. You can take your meter lid and do all your diagnostics in here. So that's over all of that. When you start looking up here, these are your intake solenoids. You can see on this one you have 10 intake solenoids. Now one of these, you can see this one on the end is a spare, it's a blank, you see it in white. But all the others are color coded, so you have tire cleaner, wheel and chrome, pre-soak, soak, gloss wax, luster wax, which on this one is Rain-X, rubber protect, rinse, and spot free rinse. So I know those color codes. So when you look at through and you see the purple up on this is a pre-soak, and you go down here to this wire and you look through the wires, you'll have a purple wire down here, and the purple wire down here will be your pre-soak on that. Same thing on soap. You see the blue wire here, you go down here, blue is soap. So all the way through. Also on your menu signs out in the bay, soap is going to be blue, pre-soap is going to be purple. We use color code on these in the system. Under each one of these belt guards, you'll see the timing belt sprocket. The timing belt sprocket on that. These have a few hours on them, but these will operate 10 years without having to do belt replacement. And on the belt replacement, you have about 99% efficiency here. So it'll allow you to have stretching on the belt without having direct drive. If you have direct drive without inverters where it ramps up and ramps down in speed, a direct drive will eventually shear the key, where it makes it very difficult to pull the pump on and off the motor. This doesn't have a helmet pump. So it gives you all the efficiencies of the direct drive without having any of the problems that you have on it. Everything comes through the intake solenoid, so it's 100% feeding. So if they select tire cleaner, this is the only solenoid open. Tire cleaner opens up, feeds in through the intake of the pump, feeds out the pump, pressurizes in the pump, and goes into this high pressure block over here. High pressure block is nothing more than a glorified T. And so you go through the block and out to the bay. This is the bypass where you actually adjust your pressure. You adjust your pressure up to about 1200 psi. 1200 psi, when they release the trigger on the gun out in the bay, that's about a 50-pound spike. So it'll drop, you watch the pressure go up to about 1250, as opposed to like an unloader valve, which drops it to 0 psi. So, the gold motors, that's a Super E motor, so it's a highest efficiency motor that Baldor builds. The different pumps, the pump that we use is, on the new units are going to be the 5CP cats, and the 5CP has a lifetime warranty replacement on the head of the pump. So all the tanks are stainless steel. They're all fed with hydrominder valves. On the high volume tanks, like the soap and the wax and the rinse, all of those have a little reed switch, on-off reed switch, and that reed switch turns on and off a half-inch solenoid valve that fills that tank, so we can keep up with the volume. Most of the 506 hydrominders, the volume rating is around 7 gallons a minute. And so with 7 gallons a minute, you can only run 2 pumps. And when you're trying to run 6, you'd have to have too many tanks. So with the high flow half-inch solenoid valve, it'll allow you to do up to 25 gallons a minute. 25 gallons a minute will let you do 7 days easily without having double feed. This is freeze protection, which is, once again, all this is going to read is your outside ambient air temperature, and at 35 degrees it kicks on, protects it from freezing conditions. You guys don't have to worry about that. All of these are the push button starts, and so once again, over there you have base 1, 2, 3. This is on this right hand side you're going to have base 4, 5, and 6, and so the buttons work the same way, 4, 5, and 6. Each time you push a button, it's the same as dropping a coin. And so if your smallest denomination you're going to take is a quarter, or are you going to be taking anything smaller than a quarter?
No.
Okay. So each time you press that, it would be a quarter.
Right.
Now you can have these buttons on, or you can have them off. So if you have a site where the guy doesn't want his operator to have access to starting it with a push button, you just order it without the push button start. All these lights are going to indicate whether that bay is enabled. And so that will give you a reading on that, and on the ends of the panel it has hour meters, so you can keep up with your maintenance. All the chemicals on the front, those are all hydrominder fed, and so they're automatic. So the only thing you have to do is make sure that you keep chemicals in all your containers. Once I get down to about 5 gallons of product, then we change barrels out and then we swap them in. What we can do, we'll go down on bay number 1.
Do you want to explain the single chemical feed? The single chemical feed, the way the chemical then gets distributed to the bay from here?
Let's go out in the bay and we'll show how we'll go through the operation.
Okay.
We'll go out where the Lotus is, then we'll set up and then we'll wash the Lotus.
Excellent.
With the different colors. I'm going to go ahead and put it on stop.